Hi everybody. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite VSTs. So we are only going to briefly talk about them today and talk about what they do. Over the next 10 weeks, you'll see me do a video review of every single one of the plugins that I mentioned today. They'll all be in separate videos. I'm going to be reading through the manual for each one of the instruments. I've been using them for a very long time, but I've never read the manual for all of them. So I'm going to read through all of that, scrub up all of my knowledge so I can give you the best tuition on it. So keep an eye out for all of that. Now, you do not need fancy third-party plugins to make good music. If you're using any one of the big digital audio workstations, it's going to come with great plugins already built into it. So by all means, you do not need these instruments or effects, but they do make life different if you start to use them. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number one on my list is the VST called Serum. So Serum, you can see it in front of me here. It is a virtual instrument. So it's a synthesizer. You create your own sounds inside of it. And Serum is great for advanced users as well as beginners because it gives you a really intuitive look at how the modulation effects work and the parameters you change affect the sound. So I would really recommend this if it's the first virtual instrument that you want to get. Serum is the one that is most likely not to let you down and you'll find yourself using even once you become a very advanced user. So go ahead and check out Serum. It's available online. I think it's $129 for purchase, and it's a fantastic plugin. Number two is Sylenth One. Sylenth One is another synthesizer, and it has been around for a very long time, so it's quite an old school synth. You would have heard a lot of the presets and a bunch of the music that you've listened to, and it's kind of a staple instrument in a lot of experienced producers' repertoire. And I really like it. It sounds very bright. I really like making leads and acid sounds in it. I've got a bunch of videos on that, so you can jump over and find all my Sylenth One videos and stay tuned for the in-depth review of this one. Number three is Shaperbox. Shaperbox is an effect that you can put on MIDI and audio channels and it will modulate the sound. And it does a bunch of different things. So you can use it to very quickly modulate using unconventional LFO shapes that you can draw in. And you can use it to modulate time, filters, you can pan things with it, you can do volume envelopes and side chaining effects with it, and you can also increase the stereo width or narrow the stereo width of sounds. So it's a really cool plugin for mixing, using to mix your track, but then also like all sorts of creative effects. You can make all sorts of trippy things. Number four is FabFilters ProQ2. And ProQ is an EQ plugin, and there's not too much to say about it. It seems to be sort of the standard for most of the producers I talk to. They all seem to use it. It has a really nice aesthetic, and the sound quality is more than enough for a bedroom producer to need. And it has a whole bunch of interesting effects that we can go through for analyzing the sound, but also then making adjustments to it through the EQ. So that is number four. Number five is FabFilters ProQC. ProQC is a compressor, and it has a really good way of showing you the how you can visualize compressing a sound. And I'm going to be doing a very in-depth video of how ProQ2 works, but then I'm also going to be doing my own version of a compression video. I know that there's heaps out there, but I still don't think it's been explained quite as diligently as maybe it needs to be. And I think that maybe the idea that I've got for explaining it could be interesting to some people out there to help them understand. So for compression, ProQ2. Sorry, ProC2. Number six is FabFilters ProR. ProR is a reverb plugin. It has a really simple user interface. It's got EQs on here, so you can EQ the reverb, and everything just seems very intuitive with this plugin, as it does with most FabFilter plugins. So stay tuned for the in-depth review of ProR. But if you're looking for a third-party reverb and you want something that just is really easy to use and straightforward with a great quality sound, ProR is fantastic. Next is Soundtoys Echoboy. Echoboy is a delay plugin or an echo plugin, and it has analog modeling in it. So a lot of the different styles that you can use sort of sound like they have that analog warmth in their sound. And I use Echoboy because it has a lot of parameters. Other delay effects that I've used don't give me quite as much control. And for now, it's the one that I know the best. I am trying out other delay plugins, but for now, this is what I'd recommend for you to get into it. So that is that. Next is a plugin by Flux, and it's called Stereo Tool. And Stereo Tool is used for mixing. And I really like it because I can put it on a sound, I can see where it is in the stereo field, and then I can pan it appropriately, and it just kind of helps me figure out how far right or left I am, how wide the sound is, and I find it just really useful. And the panning works differently inside a Stereo Tool to how the pan knobs work inside of Ableton, so look that up because that's quite interesting to find out about. But yeah, that is Stereo Tool. If you want to make your own kick drums, I would recommend using Sonic Academy's Kick 2. Kick 2 is a really nice plugin for kick synthesis, and technically this is a synthesizer, so it's a kick drum synthesizer. You could also make basses and all sorts of other sounds with it, but they advertise it as a kick plugin. And I've got some videos on how to make kick drums inside a Kick 2 on my channel, so scroll through my videos, you'll see that, and I'll be doing another in-depth video on how this plugin works. And finally, the last plugin is Fab Filters Saturn. So Saturn is a saturation effect, distortion effect, and it models all sorts of different tape effects and that sort of thing as well. And it is really cool for adding sort of character to your sounds. So once you've got a sound and you want to sort of shape them a little bit more, jump into Fab Filters Saturn, and you can just simply go through a lot of the presets and you get really cool different effects. You can do all sorts of things with this plugin. So my in-depth review of that one is going to be very interesting because I think I'm going to learn a lot, and then hopefully I'll be able to teach you guys a lot. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys saw some cool plugins, and obviously stay tuned for all of the in-depth reviews. I will be putting the links to flash up on the screen of this video once they're completed. So if they're not flashing up yet, the videos probably don't exist, but as soon as they are up, I'll make sure that I put them on there. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.